This past Friday, we talked about Modern Warfare and its 8.5 gigabyte update that it got that night. That introduced 2 new maps, a bunch of different tuning passes, and a lot of things in between. But while it fixed out a lot of things, while it added a few things into the game, there's still a lot that still has to be fixed and that Infinity Ward are well aware of. And so today I want to cover with you guys 10 topics of discussion and 10 things that will be fixed out, hopefully in this next update, but that are on the radar of Infinity Ward and it very well could be coming as of this week. Now, as with the other update we got, this one on this past Friday, we don't have any specific ETA, but would it be a terrible guess to say Friday? I don't think so, but it very well could also come anytime between then. So keep your eyes open here for this, and if it does drop, of course, we'll keep you updated here on the channel with everything you need to know. So if you're new, maybe consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare on a daily basis. But that said, let's talk about the 10 things here that we can expect in the upcoming week or so, hopefully to be completely fixed out. The information we'll talk about comes from developers such as Joe Seacott on Twitter and elsewhere that we've seen, such as in the patch notes themselves. But the first thing we'll talk about is that of, well, everybody's favorite sniper still, that of the 7.25 shotgun. Now, this got a decent bit of a tuning pass here to it, adjusted and listed in the patch notes. How much it actually translates to how much it shifted the meta of the weapon, well, that's a different story. But out of the patch notes, it ended up saying that it got an increase to the ADS and hipfire spread, as well as a reduction to its damage range. But you'll likely still see some clips where you're like, how did that kill me? How was that a shotgun? In which that is still something they're looking at. And in some cases, it's a rare instance where if all pellets hit, it will still be a one shot at a certain long range, if you want to call it that. And also there will be cases where if players are damaged, it can do that finishing blow in one shot. So therefore making it a one shot kill potential. But that said, they're still working this out. They're still smoothing it out, as Joe ended up pointing out in a conversation between him and Hutch. And it's going to be something that, while we don't have any specifics on what may be adjusted, it might just bring it down ever so slightly and, again, maybe shift the meta of that a little bit further. Additionally, we'll also see some more weapon tuning. The only one that was specifically stated out of any public forum here with this was that of the FAL, and this, if I were to guess, is something that deals with the FAL's recoil patterns. Right now, there is zero cap on what that recoil pattern will do. It will send you, if given the chance, all the way up 90 degrees in the air. So you could be looking at somebody completely horizontal from you. Your weapon could be completely level, but if you end up trigger fingering that quick enough, it could send you sky high with the recoil. So that's something that is, of course, needing to be looked at and going to be adjusted. And for anybody trying to use the FAL, hopefully it gets better for you guys, because apparently it's a pea shooter in some cases, and with that recoil, it doesn't make it too enjoyable of a weapon. So that said, that should be coming as well. There's also going to be fixes for the officer rank challenges. And this is something that is a kind of two-parter. Firstly, some of them are still bugged, some of them are not tracking properly, and therefore, if you're working towards that emblem that you want to get for that overall season and what you do in terms of your progression overall, well, that's something that, of course, needs to be fixed out. But the other big thing is that because some of these aren't working, because some players are kind of stuck there, it causes an actual game-breaking bug where your game will crash. You can't load anything up. 2 of my friends I know that have this are Prestigious Key and I believe Swag XBL. And while I only know of this because of them, I'm sure that there are at least a handful of people out there that may even be watching this video that has the same exact thing happening to them, where it's maybe not a major bug in terms of how many players are affected, but it's definitely a major bug in terms of what it's restricting, i.e. the entire access to play the game. So that's something that has been talked about for a couple of days now, where a fix is supposedly coming in the next day or two, but that time has since passed. We haven't seen any adjustment here for it, and I'd imagine if we are getting a title update here for the game with these changes we're talking about in this video, that's probably gonna be one of the biggest things that this does fix. And I really do hope that this comes soon, because people literally cannot play this game as a result of that bug. So fingers crossed definitely on that one, but outside of that, let's talk about some other progress bugs here with this. Firstly, let's talk about mission progress, because this was something that was bugged before this last update on Friday, and it seems to continue in some cases. I think that some have worked out, some things were fixed like the patch notes mentioned, but some also are still persisting where mission progress will reset, it will not count towards whatever goal you're going towards, or it just might not even be selected at all. I think that I've had probably all three of those things happen to me personally, where I select one and then after a match or two, it says that it's not selected, that I don't have anything selected. Then I go and check it, I select it again, then I'll have it active, then it won't count, and then sometimes it will just reset back, where I'll be 1 or 2 merciless medals into that challenge and then it'll go back down to 0. So that's something, of course, is going to be looked at, and it has been addressed by Infinity Ward in the patch notes and also elsewhere on Twitter, but that's something to be conscious of as well as a fix coming in the relative near future. Then also some things dealing with progression. The weapon ranks is definitely something you may have noticed. This has been going on for quite some time now, where it will say that every weapon that you have is level 1 despite not actually being level 1. To my knowledge, I think this has been toned down to which it's almost at random what weapons still say level 1. Some will be corrected, or at least they were for me, and some will still say none. And what's interesting is that it seems to be bugged across the board with this kind of stuff, meaning that the ones that are bugged will even say so within the gunsmith, where you can't see the next weapon unlocks. And maybe this happens with some of the max ranked weapons. I know that my AK, the one that I found was bugged, was maxed out, so naturally there's not any more attachment unlocks to be coming afterwards because I maxed it out, but it's certainly something weird for sure. But seemingly many players are having still issues with other weapons for them also being level 1. So that's something that will be fixed out here and was mentioned by Joe and Infinity Ward as well. Then let's talk about some camo challenges, because this was addressed within the patch notes as well, but we still haven't seen a complete fix here for this. The fact that your camo challenges will not track properly. They'll track in the background, but it won't showcase any of your progress actually on screen. This was actually a big factor as to why I kind of gave up temporarily on the gold weapon grind, because I just didn't know where I was at in any of my challenges. If I'd complete, say, another 5 or 10 and then unlock a new camo, it would showcase that I ended up doing that and the progression would still be there, but it became almost impossible to track specific individual items that you needed to do. Like, I personally have no idea how close I am to getting any camos for, say, the kills after reloading. I have zero idea where that is. Same thing with crouching or long shots or anything like that. It just doesn't track, and so therefore should be getting fixed out and has been addressed by Infinity Ward. Additionally, one thing that's also pretty large and was mentioned in the update notes that there will be a second tuning pass here, and it's also something that Joe Seacott ended up saying they're very, very quiet, is that of the footstep audio for ADS and crouch movement as well. Naturally, you're slowed whenever you do this, so you're not stomping around making as much noise, you're not as heavy on your feet, and so therefore with all the footstep tuning audio passes that have gone through within the past update, this is the next one up on deck, where they're going to adjust this as well and bring them down to very minimal levels. They're not going to make them dead silent, but they're going to make them incredibly minimal, to which you actually have to really try and listen to them. Outside of what more that will entail, we have absolutely no idea, but expect another footstep audio pass coming in the very near future. Additionally, spawn updates, while this is something that has been said for every single update so far, seems to be progressively getting a little bit more in terms of those updates as well across the board. I couldn't tell you exactly what they mean by these. I couldn't tell you if this is the final thing they're going to be updating or if there's going to be 5, 10, 15 updates more for spawn logic and everything, because over the past couple of updates, I don't know how much more I noticed in terms of them getting better, but they're still going to be worked on. They're still being addressed by Infinity Ward as being something of a topic of discussion for these updates and what they're tweaking on the back end. So those should be coming as well. Now we're getting into some smaller things here with this to round out the final 2, and then I guess there's an extra thing I want to talk about as well at the end. But firstly, we'll talk about the enemy icon appearing blue. This is something that would indicate it was a teammate that you're looking at, but that's something that it seems to be arbitrarily bugged in some cases, where randomly players will see an enemy running at them. They won't shoot at them because it says it has a blue icon above them that they're a friendly, but they're actually an enemy. So therefore, they'll lose a gunfight that they never even participated in because they thought they were in the clear. And turns out they weren't. So that's something that has been looked at, that has been addressed, and of course is known and will be fixed out. Then we'll talk about the final thing here, is that there's an issue now currently with some of the modes where spectating is a piece of gameplay, such as cyber attack and search and destroy. There is something that will sometimes hinge your camera on where players are. This also happened to me once or twice within headquarters, so anything where there is no respawns after a certain point and you spectate teammates, it sometimes hitches onto that player that killed you. And so therefore it will show the movements of that specific area, and you can call out to your enemy team still. So naturally that's not supposed to work like that, and it's going to be fixed out as well, addressed by Joe Sicott over on Twitter. Now, real quickly before we wrap this up, I do want to mention that I did see a clip on Twitter that Joe replied to in which it seems like there's a jitter mod available for the Origin 12, which, oh, God help us if that's the case. But they said they're looking at it and they're going to be looking to mitigate anything that may be able to do that. So that shouldn't hopefully be something that runs as a rampant issue that we see in the very near future. But keep an eye out for that one. Now, in terms of timing for everything, again, if I were to guess, I'm starting to think that we might see most of our major updates on a Friday this year, as opposed to how in years past, and most recently with Black Ops 4, everything was primarily on Tuesdays. We've seen, I think, both now of the most recent title updates happen on Friday, so it could happen again here in which we see that title update on Friday. But with some of these things being so game-breaking, I'm looking at those officer challenges, the ones that will blue screen everybody and not allow them to actually get into the game. With those being so game-breaking, I would hope that it comes sooner, so maybe we see something tomorrow for kind of a regular air quote Tuesday update that we've seen in the years past. But truth be told, we just don't have enough information yet to see where that pattern may fall, where we may start to expect our updates to fall on. And of course, with something that is game breaking, I'd hope that this one, at least if it doesn't follow any mold, could be something that breaks that and comes a little sooner. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up though. Wanted to keep you guys in the loop with some things that have been out there that have been addressed and that should be coming with the next title update in the very near future here for Modern Warfare. So wanted to keep you guys in the loop. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below though. What do you guys think here of this? Is there anything in particular that I may have missed? Is there anything that you want to see fixed? How would you change some of these things? Perhaps that 725 adjustment a little further, that FAL adjustment, whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But that said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare. And if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, wherever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.